CANTATA-57 is a new hand cannon that came to us with the Witch Queen, the best Destiny expansion ever launched. Oh, holy
what?
And Cantata is at 140 RPM, which makes it great for dueling, and it has an incredible selection of perks, so you know I had to take a look at it and see how it felt. Turns out, it slaps. Today we'll review how it feels, what makes it so good, the pros and cons, and in general, what makes a good hand cannon and why that does and doesn't matter. Alright, let's go. I've gotten a few good rolls of CANTATA-57 on my own account and spent some time playing with those to get a feel for the broader perk selection and off-meta picks, but since it's just a world drop, which means you can't really target farm it as of now, I haven't been able to reliably secure myself the roll that I personally think is the best, which is Opening Shot and Eye of the Storm. Fortunately for me, a friend in Discord had this exact roll with a range masterwork and full bore, which made it feel super nice. So thank you so much to Omfficient for letting me borrow your account for quite a while. So while full bore might not be the quote-unquote most optimal perk here due to the loss of handling and stability, it's still a large boost to range, and paired with a range masterwork, this roll was able to hit full damage at 32 meters before experiencing damage fall off, which is quite nice for a hand cannon, and only just barely under the 34 meter drop off of what I would consider the perfect palindrome, which is fluted barrel, high cals, range masterwork, quick draw, and rangefinder. And even if you bump that adept palindrome roll up to 36 meters with the max range roll using hammer forged, a max range Cantata with hammer forged and accurized and Eye of the Storm is still at 32 meters, or a max range Cantata with hammer forged and accurized and range masterwork and rangefinder gets up to 35 meters, which is a single meter less than palindrome. So if all you care about is range, then you should still consider this thing extremely viable. However, I really hope you don't only care about range, because I think you're missing a lot more. And here's why. The fact that Cantata can roll Eye of the Storm and Opening Shot immediately makes it a contender in the GOAT conversation surrounding hand cannons about which is the greatest of all time. Comparing 140 hand cannons to each other is just kind of a pastime of the community. I think they're seen as the bread and butter because they work in almost every build, and they're very good. They're just a reliable workhorse you can always depend on. So naturally, it's kind of fun to think about which is the best. But in my opinion, it's kind of a silly notion in the Destiny PvP community, this idea that any one item is somehow the best in its class, when the weapon's user, their playstyle, game mode, subclass choice, opponent's loadouts, and just luck are arguably more important factors in determining the outcome of fights, but I digress. It's still just fun to compare items and talk about them, and so that's what we're doing today, even if I think it's a bit silly. Also, you can't control what roll you get, so who cares? Anyway, the fact that Cantata can roll Eye of the Storm and Opening Shot means I think it ranks up there with the big boys like Fatebringer, Palindrome, Dire Promise, Ias Luna, and it's just really because of how incredible those two perks are on a hand cannon. Because it can roll Opening Shot and Eye of the Storm, I think this puts Cantata head to head with Austringer, which I'm pretty sure is the only other hand cannon that can roll with this as well for 140s that people still have, although Austringer is sunset and unobtainable, so it's not really part of this conversation. It's just what immediately comes to mind for many old school PvP players when they think of Opening Shot and Eye of the Storm. Because of that combo alone, Austringer is still a top tier choice for scrimmages, tournaments, survival, or really any non-power level enabled Crucible activity. The reason this perk combination is so highly sought after is because of a story. The story of each hand cannon duel, a tale as old as time that has never changed and never will change. It's a tale I won't bore you with today, dear child. That's for another day when I have a full hour to lecture you about agonizingly specific gunplay mechanics, about range accuracy, aim assist, stability, cones, handling, and more cones. But in every hand cannon duel, there's this story. The story begins with you starting with high aim assist and accuracy on your hand cannon, which translates to it being very easy to land your first shot on a target. But with something like Opening Shot, that becomes immensely easier because Opening Shot adds 20 range and 20 aim assist to your first shot, makes your damage fall off distance about 5% more, which is kind of like more range, and it makes it so your accuracy cone doesn't grow as much. So basically, you're not going to miss the first shot, and by proxy, that makes hitting your second shot pretty easy too. Now, after your first shot is given to you for free and your second shot is hit by you because, well, we're really only asking you to hit one shot here today. Well, now comes the mysterious, seductive, exciting, and sometimes elusive third hand cannon shot. The piece that makes up the holy trinity we all refer to as the 3-tap. However, in this story of a hand cannon duel, when you are seeking out that elusive third shot, which, to be fair, many do struggle with, no shame, Well, when you need to land that third shot, if you've been in a duel with anyone barely competent, they've also been shooting at you, and it is almost guaranteed that you will have taken damage. Once you have taken almost exactly half of your health bar's damage, Eye of the Storm activates and it gives you plus 30 handling, which is a ton. It gives you minus 40 accuracy cone size, which means your shots are going perfectly straight, and any aim assist you do have is going to make that even more generous. And then it also gives you minus 17% accuracy cone growth, which means that that cone is going to stay much tighter than usual, so your shots will continue flying straight, which is great.
Indeed.
Basically, it means if you're being accurate at the end of a duel, you're going to hit your shots even while combating your degrading aim assist cone. I think that's what makes it so appealing to people, is that it gives you more control at the end of the duel and more generosity, to be fair. Anyway, altogether, all of these hidden behind the scenes benefits of Eye of the Storm means you are almost guaranteed to land that final third shot for the 3-tap. It is just an incredibly good perk that makes your final shots in a hand cannon duel very, very generous. I can't really describe how good it feels, and you should really just try it out for yourself, but it's just, I promise, it's stunningly good. So altogether, in this story of a hand cannon duel with opening shot and Eye of the Storm, all this hand cannon is really asking of you is that you land a single headshot. The first headshot is free, you need to land the second headshot yourself, and then the third headshot is made much, much easier, if not free, with Eye of the Storm, provided your opponent is actually shooting back at you, and if they aren't, well, you should be landing 3 headshots for sure in that case. When it comes down to it, Eye of the Storm and opening shot alone, in my book, make Cantata an excellent dueling weapon. When you take into account the fact that it's a world drop, so it's accessible, and the fact it has a slender, crisp model, so it's easy to see around as you fire, and of course the fact it can achieve palindrome level range, I think it really does rank up there with the other top hand cannon choices. If you want to check out the perks more accurately and compare them to palindrome or any other hand cannon in the energy slot, you should check out this website d2gunsmith.com and start comparing what the God Roll means in your book. Okay, now we do need to talk about a few cons. First off, as of now, CANTATA-57 is not something you can craft at the crafting table, which is a big bummer for any weapon because it means you're subjected to the brutal, merciless god that is randomness in video games. However, you could go to the umbral focusing tool in the helm, which allows you to focus worldly weapons, which would technically include Cantata. Secondly, and this is more of a personal note, however, I think it's still cool, and maybe you do like this, which is awesome. And furthermore, maybe you like rangefinder more than opening shot on this gun, which is just fine as well. And that would push it up to 35.5 meters before it experiences damage fall off, which is right alongside that adept palindrome. So that would also be great. And now naturally, this conversation of weighing the two against each other brings up this point. There is not one God Roll on this weapon, or any weapon. There just isn't, and I think we should all let that idea go and start calling things a God Roll, or a godly roll, or one of the God Rolls, because this weapon is the perfect example of a gun who doesn't really care if a streamer calls it good or bad. It's still gonna map people and land some absolutely nasty 3-taps, or win some interesting duels with just about any perk combination you throw at it. Like for example, my favorite role I played with didn't even have accurized rounds, and it was fine. It was great, and I actually really liked having the extra bullets in the magazine thanks to Tactical Mag. Or for example, you could go with Hipfire Grip, which makes hitting crits from the hip entirely doable, or you could do Rapid Hit, which gives you big boosts of stability and reload speed for just landing 1 or 2 crits, or you could do Heating Up to go on some nasty streaks, or you could do Steady Hands, which just gives you a truckload of handling on all weapons after a single kill, which feels amazing, I love it. Or you could do Moving Target, which gives you faster strafe speed when aiming down sights, and 10 aim assist, which maybe means you can run one less hand cannon targeting mod on your helmet, or you could do Vorpal to take out supers, or timed payload to cause double the flinch on your opponents. There are endless good choices on this gun, and you have so many potential roles that would perform absolutely wonderfully. This gets back to one of my core values / frustrations with discussing God Rolls, which is that it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because there are always plenty of choices, different playstyles, and different use cases, so whatever the individual prefers is often the best choice for that reason alone, because that means they'll be having more fun with it, playing how they play naturally, and this will easily cause them to perform better than simply trying to conform to whatever someone else says is the God Roll. If you agree with me that the player is more important than the tool, or if you have close to 500 vault spaces used, I would highly suggest you watch my 3-hour frickin' documentary movie about why I deleted my entire vault, why people hoard items in video games, and some other interesting things too. I don't think you've ever seen another Destiny video like that one. Anyway, to close out this strange God roll guide / review / rant all about Cantata and hand cannons, I'd like to review some final recommendations about what I think is particularly exciting about Cantata-57 and what you should look for as you see various rolls hit your inventory. Okay, first up, I think on any 140 RPM hand cannon, it is extremely important to hit somewhere in the high 60s for stability, which means by the time your hand cannon's recoil animation is ready to fire again, the reticle has returned to the center of your screen, which just makes any hand cannon an absolute laser beam, and means that you are more effectively combating the intrinsic bloom you incur by firing at the gun's maximum rate of fire. So whether you're accurate or not, with high-ish stability, you'll just hit more shots as you fire quickly. I don't care how good you are, you're just gonna land more 3-taps in the heat of battle with stability in the high 60s or higher. And what's more, if you can forego a bit of range by simply taking a single step forward in the game, you probably won't even notice it's gone. Second, I would probably run hand cannon dexterity with Cantata since it does start a bit low for what you want a hand cannon at, in my opinion, so you may want to increase that handling a little bit higher by just using armor, mods, or just different perks on the gun. Third, I would prioritize whatever you care about first before range, like whatever you care about besides range, put that at the top of your list, and then if you can achieve that goal, like, I don't know, reaching 68 stability or having the perk Eye of the Storm, then after that, probably just go for range perks, just so long as they don't hurt your other stats, which to me translates to Hammerforge Rifling being one of the best barrel choices, unless you're going for rangefinder, in which case you probably want fluted barrel. Beyond these 3 pieces of advice, I really don't think it's fair to say there is one true god roll of this weapon. Eye of the Storm and Opening Shot are the best and most exciting combination on any hand cannon by far, for me, but if your value system is different and you want something else, that's what makes this game beautiful, and you should go for that roll instead. All in all, I think it's wonderful Cantata is so accessible. I wish all guns were targetable or craftable, and I think the perks available on Cantata make it an extremely good weapon. Just like every other 140 RPM hand cannon in the game, it's just that Eye of the Storm and Opening Shot take it to that top tier for me. Alright, thanks for watching. Play with whatever you want, I don't really care, and if you want to support me, just go watch that vault cleaning video or send it to your friends or something. It's linked in the description and maybe a pinned comment. I don't know, I don't plan this stuff. Also, hope you're having fun with Witch Queen. I know I am. Cheers. Time to boop. Boop. The timing.
Clip that.
Yes, sir.